Welcome to Puny Pod's Monthly Bugle for January 2026. My name is Ryan, and my co-host, as always, is David. David, we are back in the studios after a little bit of a break. How are we doing this morning?
Doing pretty well. Rejuvenated after a little break, as you mentioned. Slogging through work, but happy to get on here and chat about Marvel stuff with you on a Sunday morning. How are you, my man?
Not too shabby, not too shabby. Like you said, slogging through work, got that going on. But getting excited. We both have trips coming up in the next couple of weeks to various Disney things. Or not next couple for you next couple of weeks, for me next month, but all kinds of stuff kind of lined up. So it's time to get excited for the year.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Oh, I'm doing a Disney cruise.
I know.
I'm doing San Diego. It's San Diego out to Catalina and then down to Ensenado, with a bunch of concierges. Actually, it's a technically kind of it's our concierge trip for the year, but since it's a cruise, which makes it a little bit more expensive, we made it a little bit more optional than our usual concierge trips. But
Oh, sounds fun. You'll have a great
yeah,
time.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And you let me concierge a pretty sweet trip for you. So
Yeah. Well, my daughter is in the UK and going to France, and then I'm going to visit her, and then all of us are going to go to Disneyland Paris, which will be a lot of fun.
heck yeah, dude! I can't wait to hear about it because everything I hear is like all the Marvel stuff over there is just better, like germane to this show. All the I hear the Avengers campus is better. They have a Marvel hotel over there.
Yep.
Ah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, as a plug, informal plug, I didn't have to do anything. I said, "Hey, Ryan, can you just take care of this for me? Here's my credit card." And he did. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Super
for
easy. It's going to have
sure.
a great time.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, let's get into some Marvel content. This is going to serve as our 2025 year in review and then our 2026 year in preview. We like to do these every year, kind of look back at Marvel for the last year, um, and you know, just kind of see what the year held, see what we've got, and um, yeah, we'll go from there. So, with that being said, there is some current content out right now. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I haven't even started it. Wonder Man is out. David, I know you got through a couple episodes and you said it was getting pretty good so far.
Yeah, I've actually really enjoyed it. So I'm watching it with my son. Most of the time I'm doing it late at night, but we sat down, so we're making a concerted effort to watch it together, so, which is why I haven't binged it entirely by now. It's good. It's different. I like how the cast is great. As much as I bemoan the fact that I've seen a lot of Trevor Slattery, like it's still great to see Ben Kingsley. It's a good show. I'm looking forward. I think you'll like it. It's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, let's put our eyes forward a little bit. Let's talk about what's coming up in the MCU, right? So, um we'll start here with kind of what this year, what 2026 holds forward. And yeah, we'll kind of give each little kind of project its own time. We'll talk about it a little bit. And we'll kind of take it from there. So I'm actually going to start with the Disney Plus shows because we'll save the big bangers for last. So 2026 shows, obviously we started with Wonder Man. That's already out. It's on Disney Plus. It released all at once, so if you want to go watch it, go watch it. um it's a little bit of like my understanding from the previews is that it's a little bit of a meta take on the movie industry and the state of superhero movies and that sort of thing. So
Hmm.
um I'm excited to get to watch It's just been crazy times here, not been able to, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one when I actually do get to watch it.
Yeah, Spotlight series. It'll be interesting to see if and how they fold Wonder Man into like the larger MCU,
Mm-hmm.
because the character is pretty interesting so far, and having the crossover with, as I mentioned before, with the Trevor Slattery, who we saw in Iron Man. 3 and another and then last year's
Yeah, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi and
Yeah.
I thought we just saw him recently as well last
I
year.
don't. Did we? Do we? I don't think so. I don't. I can't think of what project he would have been in last year. We'll talk
It
about
it could have
last year's
just been
projects
it could have
later.
just been like something I'd watched recently. I'm like, oh, I'm reminded of Trevor Slattery.
Yeah, you're probably thinking because we watched Shang-Chi for the show in November. So if you guys want to go back and listen to our first couple takes on Trevor Slattery, go back and listen to our um, Iron Man 3 episode. That would have been a couple years ago at this point. Right around Christmas time. I think we landed that one around Christmas time, but um go listen to that one or listen to the Shang-Chi episode that we just released last year. Um, Actually, that I think at the time of recording, that's the last episode we released was that Shang-Chi one.
Yep,
So,
yep, and it was Shang-Chi. You are correct. I just had it in my mind that I had seen last year. And reminded that we've had a lot of Trevor Slattery. We've had no more Shang-Chi. But that'll change. That'll change.
yep, that'll change. Moving on to the next one that just got a new trailer. David, did you see the trailer for Daredevil Born Again season 2?
I haven't seen the last trailer.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So yeah, Daredevil Born Again season 2 coming out March 4th, 2026. This is the continuation of the Daredevil Born Again show that premiered last year. And it is deeply rooted in the Netflix Daredevil, right? It is they are shying away from calling it a sequel series, but I mean it is, right? Due to appear in this is we are going to get Jessica Jones. She is confirmed to be in this season. So Kristen Ritter reprising her role as Jessica Jones. We do have um, some newcomers to the cast. I know that. I can't. I think of the actor's name who played Shaggy in the Scooby Doo live action movies. Um,
Oh,
I
Matthew Lillard?
Yes, Matthew Lillard is slated to come on as kind of the political villain to Wilson Fisk, is my understanding. So, should be good. I'm pretty excited. The first season was really really good. They absolutely did the violence that they needed to do. They did it the way it needed to be. It was the right tone. So I'm excited for this one. How about you, David?
Yeah, so that's not a Teddy co-watch, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay, just checking.
Hard no on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I mean, let's be honest. It's got the same cast, so you can say it's not a sequel, but to me, it just seems a continuation of it. I'm looking forward to it. I actually haven't, for something new, like some of the new shows we'll get into in a second. I want to see a preview just to get like a sense for like the vibe and the look and the feel. Here, I kind of don't want to know anymore, just because like
Yeah,
they filmed it all together at the same time, kind of split them up into 2 seasons, and so Marvel does a pretty good job of not giving away stuff in the trailers, but I want to be surprised, when you see that this character has come back. I just want to be surprised for it. So,
for sure, for sure. Um, X-Men 97, the animated uh successor to the 90s X-Men animated cartoon is coming, so pretty excited for this. I've talked a lot on this show about how much I love that early 90s X-Men cartoon, and so X-Men 97 is right up my alley. This is one that I love this show. The art style is perfect. The tone is perfect. I am very excited for season 2. We're getting Apocalypse. And it looks like it's going to be a real good time. Probably some Horsemen of the Apocalypse going on, that sort of thing with Gambit and stuff. And Gambit's one of my favorite characters, so to get to see him do some more stuff will be cool. But I'm really excited for this one. It is by far one of my favorite, if not my favorite, animated series from Marvel right now.
is your number one?
I would say probably number one. Um, I mean, the options aren't plentiful right now, especially with What If finishing. But yeah, I would say it's up there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. It was. I know you really, really enjoyed the series, having probably having watched the original series, and that being
Right.
this kind of like a callback to this like early bit of content that you really, really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be good. It'd be fun to kind of do a rewatch of it all, and obviously the X-Men was my favorite comic book growing up, so I'm looking forward to it as well.
Heck yeah. Let's see. Vision Quest. So this one is they're calling this the culmination of the trilogy that is WandaVision, um, Agatha all along, and is it was that did that finish being called Agatha all along? I forget what they called that series at the end,
They called
but
it. Yep. Yep.
yeah. Um, and then this is Vision. So basically, it's like a story about Wanda, story about Agatha, and now a story about Vision. The kind of early indications are we're gonna get basically humanized versions of all the AIs. It sounds really weird on paper, because the gist that I have seen is it takes place kind of in a mental projection of visions, if you will. And he sees anthropomorphized versions of all the AI, all the Stark AIs. So we do see James Spader coming back to anthropomorphize Ultron. Um, and we're seeing it's there's been a few castings announced, but you're gonna have Friday coming back. You're gonna have Vision, obviously. Dummy is going to be
Hmm.
anthropomorphized. Um,
Jarvis,
Jarvis as a
E-
separate entity from Vision. So
Edith, Jocasta, yeah, all those. Yep. It
yeah.
sounds really weird, and I'm in for it.
Yeah, it sounds very strange. I'm really curious to see what they do. I'm curious to see if they do, because like they've been calling it the culmination of the trilogy, right? And they keep calling it that. So I'm really curious to see if they carry through the kind of like TV/movie theme from that trilogy, because WandaVision, right, was sitcoms through the ages. Um Agatha All Along kind of was like thrillers through the ages, right? It was different versions of thrillers or horror movies. Um and now it'll be interesting to see if they carry that into Vision Quest, and if they do like, I don't know, family dramas through the ages or something.
Yeah, I don't know
Um
this. Now this is an example of one I'm going to see a trailer for, just to get a sense for
what the heck's going to go on?
what's going to happen here. Because right now, like you look at the Wikipedia page, you're like, okay, sure, sounds good.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we do have Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 debuting on December 18th, 2026, which is a date that you're going to hear in a second again. So um, I'm I loved this. This is one I can watch with Ted, and Ted is a huge Spider-Man fan, and so it is fun. This is one that I can share kind of with the whole family. Um, it was fun. It's multiversal. It's so for those who didn't watch the first season, definitely go watch it. It's really enjoyable. Originally, this was set to be kind of a when this was first conceived, it was going to be a prequel to the MCU and kind of tell us how Spider-Man got to where he is. But they changed it a little bit as production went on, and it now is an alternate version that's very close to our Spider-Man, but like he still has a Norman Osborn in his life, for example.
Hmm.
And he's facing a lot of classic villains that we haven't seen on the movies yet. So I really like this one. Hudson Thames is the voice of Spider-Man in this one. He's pretty much your voice for Spider-Man, no matter what animation it is, whether it's What If or this. So I liked this one. I really liked the first season was really fun. It had some hard themes. There were some hard hitting themes that um will get you in the gut a little bit, but overall, yeah, it's a really fun series and the kind of thing that I love that they're doing in animation.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I was surprised, some of the animation. When I was thinking Spider-Man animation, I was like, okay, is this going to be too kiddie? Because Spider-Man
Right.
is this, teenager, and it's just different themes than some of the other stuff. But it was really good. I'm looking forward to this one as well. Do you have a favorite of these you're most looking forward to?
Out of this list, I'm probably most looking forward to X-Men 97.
Okay.
Um but like it's a good year for TV. Honestly, I'm here for Vision Quest. I love you know, if longtime listeners of the show know, I love the weird stuff. The weird stuff is my jam. And so Vision Quest is right down my alley. Daredevil, I loved the first season, so excited to get back into it. Wonder Man, I was excited from the kind of jump. And the more that we learned about it, the more I got excited for it. So it's a good year for shows, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Nice variety too, right? Animated, live action, new characters, returning characters. So I think the one I'd look forward to is probably Vision Quest. I think just because it brings back the idea of bringing back all of the AIs, and
Mm-hmm.
it sounds kind of interesting to me. And it, I loved Agatha. I loved the original WandaVision. So the
Oh yeah.
the Vision character itself, Paul Bettany, he's fine. Like, but I'm curious to see like James Spadering it up, and the rest of the
Yeah.
characters, which it sounds like a very novel concept to me, but all of them are really, really good. So
Yeah, yeah, I think that's fair, and I think that you said it well there, where it's like in this world where we have explored everything we can explore from Marvel, to get a new concept is really cool. Like we don't get that much, and
no,
so excited for that for sure.
yeah, yeah. So that should be a pretty good year.
Yeah.
There's also related to Daredevil Born Again is a special presentation Punisher. So this
Mm.
is it, I'm assuming it's akin to like a Werewolf by Night, where it's a standalone quote unquote movie, limited
Yeah,
time, one time.
yeah.
This
The
character.
special presentations are like Werewolf by Night. I think it was the Guardians holiday special also came out
Hmm.
with that special presentation tag. I think those are the only two so far with that tag that I can think of. But kind of, a 60 minute to 90 minute standalone doesn't mean I mean, it could mean they haven't really set up whether those matter to the greater continuity. I guess like the Guardians one did, because in the
Hmm.
Guardians one we found out that technically Peter and Mantis are siblings.
Yep.
Um Werewolf by Night has not played back in at all yet.
Nope. Nope.
I maybe Man Thing shows up in Doomsday, but that's about the extent of where I think anything will show up.
Yeah, this is probably another Teddy stay away, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
And then we have two movies coming out this year. So kind of a lean slate. Doomsday was supposed to come out, and Secret
May.
Wars both the same year, and they pushed them both
Yeah.
back.
I think it was supposed to be May and December, if I
Hmm.
remember right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And they say, hey, we need more time. So, which perfectly fine with, rather than take more time, put out better
Yeah.
content than like to rush it. So I can't remember the last time they haven't had a May release. It's been a while. Anyway, that's because
We
that's
looked
usually
that
the
up.
time.
Yeah, yeah, because May or like late April, because I think if I remember right, Endgame came out late April or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep. I
So
think it was, yeah, I think it was like maybe like year 2 or year 3 of the Marvel experience where they had nothing. But yeah, so we have Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out July 2026, distributed by Sony, but created by Marvel, and then Avengers Doomsday in December 18, 2026. Which one are you more looking forward to?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, the little they're not teasers, right? The Russos have been talking about these videos that have been posted that they're not teasers, they're bits of the story. Those have me really excited. So, folks, if you haven't been paying attention to Marvel like YouTube or social media for the last month or so, they've released these 4 kind of vignettes that are it's basically like here's what Captain America's up to, here's what Thor's up to, here's what Professor X and the X-Men and Magneto are up to, and then here's what the Fantastic Four and the Wakandans are up to. So I would definitely suggest go watching those because those are going to get you super hyped. And there's supposedly all this like hidden stuff in those trailers, like with the timestamps at the end and stuff. And
Yeah.
there's a whole rabbit hole there to dig down into. But um, I those have me pretty excited. I know it's going to be an Avengers movie made by the Russo brothers with all my favorite people, right? It's like when you go to the cabinet and you just grab all your favorite action figures and you start playing with them together. That's what Doomsday is going to be. Um so I am excited for that. I think on the opposite side looking at Spider-Man, you're looking at a fan favorite character, right? Spider-Man's very popular, but it's an almost unknown plot. We don't know what's going to go on, right? Nobody know as a reminder for the MCU, nobody knows what Spider-Man is or who Spider-Man is, right? Like he had the spell go awry that everybody forgot him. Um we know that Zendaya is going to be in it. I don't know that we've heard if Joseph Batalon's going to be in it. We know Sadie Sink is coming in an unknown role. So Sadie Sink from like Stranger Things is probably where most people know her, but you might also know her from the all too well 10-minute music video for Taylor Swift. Uh, but
Of course, that's where I know her from. Of course. Duh. No,
but
Jacob
yeah,
Batalon is confirmed to be in it for
okay,
sure.
yeah,
Also, John Barenthal, Mark Ruffalo. So,
yeah. So Punisher and Thor, or Punisher and Hulk coming in.
mhm.
So I'm curious to see it. I would say like as far as hype right now, I'm probably more hyped for Doomsday just because they've been showing me more about it, and so it's more on the mind. But I love Spider-Man. I love a Spider-Man movie. How about you?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like the first of a new trilogy. So it'll be interesting to see where they take the character from there. Looking at the cast, I'm intrigued by some of the names in the list. But yeah, I am. I'm looking for. If I'm being honest, I'm probably looking more towards to Doomsday, just because I just want to see if they can pull it off. The Russos have had, kind of like a low key dry spell recently since
Yeah.
since Endgame. Um, so having watched those little, I can't even call it teasers, vignettes, those little like short little pieces, if you will. I'm looking forward to it. I started to, and then I just couldn't go down the rabbit hole, man. Like the rune carvings and what they mean and the timestamps, and I'm just like, you know what? Well, let me just fire up New Rock Stars and just let someone tell me. It just explained to me like I'm 7. So
You mean you didn't love the Electric State from the Russos?
I think they do.
Man.
As we talked about when we talked about it on, I can't remember if it was Infinity War Endgame, but basically like to have basically two directors that think
Mhm.
alike, that know each other very well, and you could like command this huge cast, and you could like you could pull it off better. And they were able to do it Endgame, Infinity War. So they have the skill, they have the characters coming back. I just,
It makes it a lot easier, and it makes I think that like that skill set shows up a lot better on like a big epic movie like a Doomsday or like an Endgame or something
yes,
like that. Whereas like Electric State was small and it was small in scale, and it wasn't these big huge, it wasn't this culmination, right? And so, you know, yeah.
yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see who drafts it.
Yeah, well, let's move into the draft. And right before we do the draft, before I announce the results, I do want to talk through the kind of the year in review for 2025, right? So 2025 is behind us. Marvel had a pretty busy slate, all things considered, especially when you compare it to this year. They had a very busy slate. So just like with the year in preview, we'll talk about the movies first, or I'm sorry, the streaming shows first, and then we'll move to the movies. So on the streaming side, we had Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 1. So already kind of talked about it in the preview, right? We talked about season 2 and talked about season 1 a little bit. Multiversal fun Spider-Man, yeah, not much more to say about it. It did pretty well, if I remember correctly, across everything. So kind of middling, I guess, middling to good, right? Not It did not get blown up or anything. A little bit of There was, if I remember right, a little bit of review bombing because they did some race swapping with some of the characters, and of course that brought the Rotten Tomatoes trolls out of their caves.
And as they did later in the year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to what I think was probably the best show of the year. I think undisputed the best show of the year. Daredevil Born Again. That first season was so good, and it was up in the 80s on Rotten Tomatoes. We'll talk about where it landed because one of us drafted it. We'll talk about it here in a second, but I mean, yeah, that was the best show of the year.
That was certainly clearly the best Marvel show. Had some clunky parts to it, if you will, but overall really good.
Yeah. Ironheart came out June 24th of 2025. I really enjoyed Ironheart. It was a little bit in the current Marvel tradition of kind of just being there, I felt like. There was some pieces of it where it was like, yeah, it was good. It was fine. Like, it was serviceable. Nothing to complain about necessarily.
Effusive praise. Nothing to complain about. It was fine. We finally got Mephisto. Hey,
I was gonna say it did finally give us Mephisto.
God, I've only been waiting years for that. Yeah, it was just fine. I think that they, not to get into the whole review of it, but like I think that they started the character off on an unlikable note, and it was kind of hard to dig out from that. But there are parts of it that were really, really, really good, and think there's an interesting character there. Hope they use Riri again, which I'm sure. Actually, I think she's already confirmed for Doomsday, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. That's right. I will say this one was absolutely review bombed because there was other shows called Ironheart or other movies called like Ironheart that also saw their tomatometers go down, which clearly means the trolls just clicked on the wrong one.
So dumb. Like, what
Thanks,
are you doing?
Trolls. Next one, Eyes of Wakanda. So we get into a couple animated shows here. So August 1st, 2025, Eyes of Wakanda. This was a 4-episode. This was I kind of would like them to do more of these. Like this 4-episode little animation project just to kind of satisfy a funzie, right? Like, let's just do something fun. This and the next project, Marvel Zombies, that we'll talk about in a second, both were that way. Eyes of Wakanda ended up being kind of the history of the War Dogs.
It reminds you of like just it's like a 3 comic run, right? Or a 4 comic run of your favorite series. I really enjoyed it. Critics didn't, fans didn't really enjoy it. I think for some, I like the pace, and I agree with you. They can and should make more content like this. Everything doesn't have to be this huge kind of grand scale. It doesn't have to have like a multi-seasonal arc, if you will. Just 4, 5, 6 episodes of some and providing what I think was really interesting historical background to to the War Dogs.
Yeah. Like they could do this with the Winter Soldiers, right? Or like there's all these little groups that's like give us a few of their missions, right?
The
Show us,
Widows, the
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Could be really cool. And then last but not least, well, last, but yeah, not least, Marvel Zombies released September 24th, 2025. Definitely not a Teddy watch along. This was this one I had high hopes for, and it surpassed my expectations, I think. Um, this ended up being so good. It was gritty. It was gross. It was what you wanted from a Marvel show, or what you wanted from a zombie show with a Marvel overlay. And yeah, I loved this one. I need to go back and rewatch it again because it was just so good.
You just had gave me a thought. Like, what if they had a zombie overlay in Avengers Campus?
They brought Marvel, or they brought Zombie Cap, I think, out for like a Halloween
Okay,
one year.
that's cool. I mean, it would freak
Yeah.
kids out, but like it's fine. Like, guys, kids got to learn some point in time about the zombies. No, it was
Yeah.
surprisingly good. I had no high expectations coming in. I had enjoyed that one what if episode. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, how are you gonna do a whole season of this? And it was really, really good. It was, and very like parts of it were like it, the fact that you could have an animated show that like makes you scared or sad or draws out these emotions means it's doing its job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's turn our eyes on a different part of the Marvel experience, which was the movies last year. So we start off in February on Valentine's Day with Captain America: Brave New World. Um, David, do you want to talk about Brave New World at all?
Not really. I'm just kidding. Brave New World. I had
Brave New rewrites, if you will.
Brave New rewrites. Brave New. Let's leak Red Hulk into to get people jazzed about this movie that was not great. It was fine. Malcolm Spellman. God, I had really high hopes. Same area as Class 85. Let's do this, Malk. But there are parts of it I liked, but there were just other. It just didn't quite hit. And I you know what they're trying to do with it, trying to establish this is because this is the first movie appearance of new Cap, right? And introducing Joaquin Torres. You've got Carl Lumley come back. Had high hopes, but
There's a good movie somewhere on the cutting room floor for that, I think.
yeah,
I genuinely think there's a good movie. There's a cut of a good movie out there somewhere from that movie.
yeah, because there were characters who were announced that were going to be in it that never showed up. Giancarlo Esposito's in it for like 3 minutes, and it's kind of like, what's the point? You've got like Harrison Ford, whom I love, but didn't need to see him as
Nah, completely wrong casting there.
President Ross. Yeah, it's not good. But at least we got Betty back. That was the one bright spot at the very end. Get Betty Ross back. God bless. Not great. Thunderbolts, asterisk, New Avengers. May 2nd, 2025. This was better.
Yes.
Way better.
Way better. Way better. Box office, it did not do great. And we'll talk about the box office. Yeah, I'm leaving that out intentionally because that's part of our bet that we're going to settle here in a bit. So Thunderbolts, I think, did suffer a little bit from like the stumble that was Captain America: Brave New World. People didn't really trust Marvel, so they weren't really wanting to try and take a risk on kind of an unknown group of heroes. I honestly really liked this movie. I think this is probably the best Marvel movie in a few years to come out, at least when it came out. So I really liked Thunderbolts. It was a deep movie. It had a lot of investigation of mental health and some pieces like that were really cool. I mean, justice for Taskmaster, but Um, other than that, I thought it was good. The introduction of Bob, right, of Century was great. It was really fun. I don't know, David. Anything else on Thunderbolts from your side?
I was a little skeptical going in. I was like, okay, well, let's take some tier 3 characters from these various Marvel films. Hey, Ghost, great, come on back, right? Taskmaster, awesome. Let's see what's going to happen. But they pulled it off. It is very enjoyable. It is very it's good on rewatch. It's just it was surprisingly good. I would describe it as like they pulled off what they wanted to do, right? And it'll be interesting to see like how they fold into Doomsday when we have the regular Avengers as well. I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the right way to say it. And then the last movie released last year, Fantastic Four: First Steps, July 25th, 2025. Marvel's last play at having a blockbuster. I thought this was good classic superhero movie, right? We talked about it at the time without getting too far into our review, but like this was good guys versus bad guys, man. And there was a little bit of like overlay with like family and whatever, but family.
God.
But I think yeah, I think overall this movie was good. Um I have rewatched it and I still enjoy it. I think the portrayal of Johnny Storm was great. I really enjoyed Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Um the whole family was great. So the only, I guess, if I had to like throw some stones at casting, maybe a little bit of Galactus. Reese Ifans' Galactus was a little bit but or it wasn't Reese Ifans. It was oh, I can't think of the actor now.
Yeah, I would I think the movie's fine. Like I personally think that I personally feel that they did a really good job with the casting, with the notable exception of Pedro Pascal, who I don't think is right for the role. But I do think it looked great. I enjoyed the retro 60s stuff. If you were to rank them, favorite to least favorite last year, what would you rank them?
And that's hard. And quick update, it's Ralph Ineson that was
Yes.
Galactus. It's really hard, and I had this conversation with my wife leaving the theater for Fantastic Four, where Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are really hard to compare because they're so different, right? Thunderbolts is this like kind of dark comedy that is investigating mental health and looking at heroes and heroism as like this really interesting investigation, versus like Fantastic Four, where like the aesthetics say it all, right? It's this retro future, superheroes, good guys versus bad guys. There's a little bit of like, do we sacrifice our child to save the world kind of stuff, but that's not, I mean, that's not that, I don't know. It's not the point of the movie, I guess. Um so it's really hard to compare them. I would say for me it's probably Thunderbolts 1, Fantastic Four 2, Brave New World 3.
That's the proper order right there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I will say, as far as like which one am I going to rewatch more, I think I probably rewatch Fantastic Four more, just because like I'm not going to be in the mood to investigate like anxiety and stuff every day, whereas like I could be in the mood just to turn on a superhero movie every day.
Do you know how much money Fantastic Four made in China?
A lot.
5.5 million.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts, 16 million. I'm looking at the lists.
And this is the story. This is the story of 2025, right? There's been there's actually been some like big articles written about this, but You know,
This is why the numbers are down, right?
yeah.
Brave New World, 14 million. Uh,
Honestly, China figured out how to make superhero movies and is making their own now.
yeah, Endgame, 600 million. So when we, we're gonna look, I'm sure you're about to talk about the financial numbers, but as background, like everything has to be skewed a bit. It's almost from the heyday 2019 to today. It's like a 2/3 factor. So a movie that made $1 billion is probably making like 600 million. So when you look at Superman last year, I think it made around 600 million, maybe a little bit more. You're like, that really well done. That's great. Even though you would think like, oh, $1 billion, like should for sure easily. But
Yeah. Yeah, so right before I get into the bet, I want to just, we talked a little bit right there about the kind of state of the movie industry. So I want to run down the top 10 movies from this year, right? So the number one grossing movie of 2025, Niza 2.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yep. It's a Chinese movie. It made $2.2 billion in China, and its overall gross was about 2.2 billion. And this is the story, right? We'll talk a little bit more about the rest of the movies here, um but yeah, China has largely moved away from a lot of the American market movies. Um and it does mean that the totals are stifled. Because that's a lot of people.
They do love themselves some Zootopia. I will say that.
That is true. Yeah. So number 2, Zootopia 2, $1.7 billion. Kids movies are always crazy. Number 3, Avatar Fire and Ash, which will come back into the conversation here in a little bit. 1.3 billion. $1 billion of that was made in foreign markets, by the way, for Avatar Fire and Ash.
Really?
Yep. Lilo and Stitch, $1 billion. That's the live action Lilo and Stitch. A Minecraft movie fell in short of $1 billion. Jurassic World Rebirth came in just short of $1 billion at about 800 million. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yoba Infinity Castle, 700 million. How to Train Your Dragon live action, 600 million. F1 the movie, 600 million, with 70% of that being foreign. And then Superman rounding out the top 10, coming in at 600 million. So you had $3 billion movies. Of those, none of them cracked the $1 billion mark domestically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this year we're going to see a lot of $1 billion movies.
Yeah.
They're going to be some big hits.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, before we get into those, let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get into kind of the outcome of our bet for the year, and we'll get into our draft for next year. So stick around. We'll see you after the break. Doodly-doo-doo. Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you buy all that Blue Chew and those purple mattresses. And what was the one? I heard for a local nail shop on our show the other day. So,
Did you really?
yeah, go to LV Nails, everybody. Which is really funny because that's the nail shop my wife goes to. But
That's so funny. Nice when you can patronize our sponsors.
yeah, exactly. Well, let's get into our bet. So for those who are new listeners who have come in the last year, you've probably heard us refer to this bet a few times. We basically, the first year of this, we did a very silly bet that was not fair in the slightest, and it ended up definitely going my way. We did like all of the Disney released and produced Marvel versus all of the not Disney released and produced Marvel in 2024, which ended up for David being, I think, Morbius and Madam Web.
Who's Craven in there? Don't you
Yeah, that's
slight
true,
my boy.
Craven. Yeah. Oof. Did you see that Sony said they're open to letting Marvel use those characters now?
I did see that.
Yeah. Shocker. Um,
Marvel's probably like, nah, I'm good, man. Thanks. We're good.
yeah.
Although the character whose name I always forget, who played Quicksilver Pietro,
Oh yeah, yeah,
uh, did a pretty like his Craven was pretty solid, but just the movie was just unwatchable. But anyway, sorry.
yeah. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's at I
Hmm.
think 3 Marvel characters now, if you count Kick Ass.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's right.
but and then so last year though, what we decided to do was a draft, which a little bit of a this is an organic plug for a new show that we're going to launch very soon called Fantasyland Draft League. Um, listen to that on the Years Up Network coming very soon to your ear holes. But yeah, we decided to do kind of a fantasy draft sort of situation. And last year, what our rules were you needed to pick one Marvel movie, one wild card movie, which I think we said had to tie back to Marvel. I don't remember if we added that rule last year.
That was last
I
year.
do, yeah. Um, and you got their box office totals, and then you picked one streaming show that you got its fan favorite. Um, so it's Rotten Tomatoes fan score, and then you picked one TV show that got the Metacritic critic score as a percentage. Um, and what we originally said was we were adding those together, adding the two percentages together, multiplying them by your box office take to give you a total. Um, it is overly complicated, mostly because we wanted to figure out some way to include both shows and movies. Um, as the year went on, we learned more and more, so we might adjust a little bit for this year's draft here in a second. But before we get there, let's talk about the results, and yeah, we'll go from there. So as a reminder, what's on the table is one of us gets to choose a non MCU movie for us to watch during the year. So last year we watched Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. And we'll see what we have to watch this year. So let's see. So my picks were Fantastic Four, Brave New World, or Fantastic Four First Steps, sorry. It took home, that was my Marvel movie. It took home $521 million, just over $522 million, or just over 521, rounded to 522. My wild card movie was Superman. It took home 616. Almost 617,000 or $617 million. I'm struggling right now with these numbers.
I didn't realize it'd be math this early on a Sunday morning.
Daredevil Born Again was my fan favorite, so I got the Rotten Tomatoes fan score for that one. That came through at 78% for the fans. And then my critic darling that I took was Wonder Man, which did not end up coming out in 2025. We did adjust the rules a little bit, so rather than adding them together, what we decided to do was an average. And an average where, like, if the show doesn't come out, that doesn't hurt you. Basically, you just get the one. So
Which makes sense, right? Like Marvel's has a penchant for shifting TV shows around. We knew the movies are going to come out for sure, and the other one other real quick thing was the fact that movies that are taken in December, we're going to total their total box office rather than just cut it off at the end of the year.
Yeah, I used so for yours, because when we get to yours, there's one that came out in December. I just used what it is this morning, right? So, which is fine, right? Like there's going to be movies that spill over. Typically we don't record the host choice movie in January, so we can let things settle out a little bit. So that brings me to a total, when you mash everything together, I'm at 888 million points, dollars, whatever you want to call them. Just about 888 million. So not too shabby. David, on your side of the card, you picked up Captain America: Brave New World, coming in
Terrible.
at $415 million.
Terrible. Well, I mean, what
Ouch.
are the I think it outscored Thunderbolts, if I remember correctly. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Thunderbolts came in at 382 million, which is also brutal. And not the right way for that to go. Avatar: Fire and Ash. This is the one that so far on the Monthly Bugle, this is the first time anyone's hearing a total for this. 1,382,000,000, which I know I just said over when we were talking about the top 10 for the year, but it did break the billion mark. Like I mentioned it before the break, about $1 billion of that, just over $1 billion of that was earned in foreign markets. I think that just goes to show that like Avatar is still popular on the foreign side.
Yep. And so, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, 1.75 billion. I have this easily until you factor in certain scores.
Yeah. So let's get over to the TV shows because these did a number for you. So, you took. I'm gonna be very straight up with you and tell you that I think you took these backwards. When we were drafting, I was sitting here going, "Oh man, David, you forgot we're doing Rotten Tomatoes, didn't you?"
Yep, I did.
Eyes of Wakanda, you took as a fan favorite. At the time, the last time I checked it, which it may have gone down now, I think it did based on what I was looking at, but 52%.
It's lower than that now.
Yeah. So ouch.
Yeah, I took the L there.
Yeah.
That's at 51. Okay. I thought it was in the 40s. Oof. Or it could have had that critic score of 92%. I'm so dumb.
Moving on to our critic darling, we did take, or you took Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man coming in at 76% on Metacritic. So, 76 is actually pretty good on Metacritic.
That's a good score.
Metacritic tends to be pretty harsh. 80 is kind of where your best stuff ends up on Metacritic a lot of the time. So yeah, your overall score. Remember, I'm at 888 million. Your overall score, dollary dues, is $1,150,000,000 plus some change. But you did win, David. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well fought victory. So any idea what we're gonna watch this year?
Man, this is a tough one. I didn't know if I was going to win or not, mostly because the critic scores or the scores were not great for Eyes of Wakanda. But I am leaning towards Freaky Tales, but I will confirm it for sure because I think you have to pay for it. And I don't want you to have to pay for it. So,
if it's something we have to pay for, don't worry about it. I got it. But
yeah, it pains me to say rely upon Avatar. I knew that it would do a lot of money. It seems to be going down. I feel like the first one made like over 2 billion, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So this year poses an interesting draft. We have 2 Marvel movies, so we'll each end up with 1. You can have differences of opinion as to what you think will earn more money.
Yeah.
We have to choose from the 2026 shows for one, as you said, 1 fan favorite, 1 Metacritic. We are putting aside Wonder Man because Wonder Man is out and the scores are out, and so we don't want to, that would be, and it's being received very well, which is good. So we'll have to choose from the other ones. When you talk about it being overly complicated, the fact that you want to convert it all to euro, I thought that was a little bit weird. But other than that, it makes it more consumable and digestible for our Europe fans. So there you
go. David, do we want to, before we draft, do we want to make any changes to the Rotten Tomato part?
Uh,
Or do you want to leave that up in the air? Does that impact your draft strategy? What do you think?
it doesn't really that much, just because I know that I just, what will be like the least offensive. That's what I'm choosing. I'm not
Yeah.
even trying to choose the best for the fan favorite. I'm open to changing it if you want to, but I'm also fine with just leaving it as is and fine either way.
Okay. Let's leave that on the table. You and I can talk more offline on that. It doesn't change my draft strategy all that much. So I'm okay if we want to move away from Rotten Tomatoes, because it is so for the listener, and this probably goes without saying, you guys pay attention to this stuff anyways, but Rotten Tomatoes sucks. And like at this point, really the platform has been spoiled by some really crappy people. And it makes it hard for this kind of thing where it's hard to gauge fan enjoyment. So there've been a couple of alternatives batted around. We've talked about like Letterboxd or
Do you want to do
Metacritic's fan
Letterboxd?
score.
Do you want to do Letterboxd?
I don't remember if Letterboxd has shows. That I think was the catch with Letterboxd.
Oh, I think you're right.
So we'll announce in a coming episode, wherever we land, whether it's Metacritic or something else. We do want something that gauges fan interest, right? Like there's a distinct difference between what the fans like and what critics like, and that's the
Mhm.
idea that we're trying to illustrate here. So if you have any ideas, listeners, if you guys are like, this is where I go to understand fan interest, let us know. There's been a few we've considered, so feel free to reach out to the show. You can reach out on the Ears Up Discord, in the Marvel channel, or directly. We'll do some plugs for our socials at the end, but or email, Ryan or punypod at earsup-podcast.com. Yeah, like, let us know if you have a favorite place to go to see what the fans are thinking. And maybe we can use that. So that all being said, the rules are very similar this year. Basically, fan favorite TV show, critic darling TV show, movie of the year, which must be a Marvel movie. So, like David mentioned, setting the stage, it's 2 Marvel movies. Then a wild card. You do have to be able to link it back to Marvel. That is the one catch. There's a big box office this year. There is a lot of like on paper big movies that could do some numbers this year. So, the wild card might be a competitive category. Let's say rather than doing a serpentine draft like last year, David, how about we just do 1-2-1-2? Does that work?
That's going to give a big advantage to whoever. Well,
Uh-huh.
either way, I'm fine either
Yeah.
way.
Let's just do 1-2-1-2 so it's not quite so two two
Okay.
two 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 two.
Okay. Changes my strategy a little bit, but okay. I'm fine. I see what you're doing here, Ryan. I'm not buying your games.
And then let me get a coin flipper up. We'll just coin flip for first.
Okay.
All right. David, pick heads or tails.
Tails. Tails never fail.
Tails never fails. Tails did not fail. So do you want 1 or 2?
Well, if we're not doing snake draft, then I will go first.
Okay. That's totally fair. And let's get into it. So just a reminder for fans, we'll do 4 rounds of this. We're going to do 1-2-1-2 rather than snake draft, because with 2 people, snake draft is really stupid.
I mean, that's the correct answer. It's just we need more people in the movie draft. Maybe next
we
year.
do. And so we'll do 4 rounds, and we can pick any of our categories at any point in those rounds. So, it's not like first round has to be Marvel, second round has to be wild card or anything like that. We can pick it anywhere. And yeah. So with that being said, David, who you got in the first? Who you got 1-1?
This is a tough one. The thing I learned from last year is that you really can't underestimate the score, the percentage that you're applying your revenue number. It's not just like pick the largest thing and then you're good to go. So if I just pick big movie, and then I've got like something lame, right? Like, so, but I think what I'm going to do I think my first choice will be in the wild card.
Okay.
And I am going to pick Toy Story 5. The Toy Story 5, obviously I think the upcoming installment to the Pixar series. One of the producers, whose name is Jessica Choi, she also produced Thor Ragnarok.
Nice.
And it's owned by Disney. I was going to make a joke that, the set designer also did something for like Brave New World, but I'm not going to go that far. So I will take Toy Story 5.
All right. Good pick, David.
It's very loose. That's about as loose as I can get. I could probably find other connections, but and I apologize, man. It's pretty loose.
No, that's fair. Honestly, kids movies, as we saw with Zootopia, kids movies are a secret weapon when it comes to considering what's going to make money and that sort of thing. So, for me, I'm going to go with my Marvel movie, and I'm going to take Doomsday.
Okay.
I think Doomsday is going to be the bigger of the two Marvel movies. And so I definitely want that, and I think it could make a lot of money if people go out. The hardest part is people have to get out and go to it, which we'll see.
Yeah. I thought about it. I think it's not like it's not like the choices. If it were the choice between like Doomsday or like Brave New World, then yeah, I would have picked Doomsday, right? Like it's just going to be such a huge delta. I do think Spider-Man was going to make a ton of money. Those things are pretty bankable. I think that, but if you look at like Avengers movies, all average well over $1 billion. Like Endgame did $2 billion, Infinity War did a ton, even Ultron did a ton. So it's a good pick. I think it should do very well. I think Spider-Man will be if Spider-Man does really well, then Doomsday should be excellent for sure.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Okay.
Round 2, David, what you got?
Round 2. I'm going to go into, I think I'm going to pick a show. I think I'm going to pick, and I'm going to get this backwards again. I'll pick the fan favorite for the critic and the critic for the fan favorite. I'm going to pick X-Men 97 as fan favorite. Good season 1 did pretty well. The part of my strategy is that the people that are most likely to review bomb are people that like X-Men 97. So I'm really, really hoping, unless like Bo DeMeo registers a bunch of accounts on Rotten Tomatoes, that it should do pretty well. So that's my second pick. What is your second pick?
Ooh.
Got to pick a show because, like,
you're not because it'd be stupid to pick my wild card now.
Yep.
I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna put a risk out there. I'm going to take Vision Quest as a critic darling.
It's a good choice. That was my next pick.
I think that's either gonna be really good or really bad. That's like high upside, but also could have a pretty low floor, because it is weird. It is going to be goofy. There could be a pretty low floor there.
Yeah, it's a good choice. You got to take a little bit of a swing. I think, and the other ones are good for fan favorites. If I'm being honest, like they're going to be, no reason to take that one. I will take my next TV show for my critic's choice. I will select Daredevil Born Again season 2.
Bastard.
Sorry.
Oh no.
I'll trade you.
No. No, that's a good pick.
I think either one, like I think Vision Quest and Daredevil are pretty similar in terms of like how they will be received. We have to remember that WandaVision was very well received. Critically acclaimed, and so I think yours is a good pick. I just don't know I don't remember what the score was for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So I went with Daredevil. I don't think it'll be bad. I think it'll be probably pretty good. I don't think it'll be as good as Vision Quest, but it'd be interesting to see. Like at the end of the year, we should probably look at like how they ranked out and so forth.
Yeah. I am going to. Yeah, I mean, then that leaves me with Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man as my fan favorite.
Would you put Punisher? No, I guess we're just looking at shows. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, that wouldn't be fair. A movie versus a show. It's not quite apples to apples. Okay.
Yeah, and that's I thought about what to do with Punisher, but it's also not on the calendar, so maybe
That's
in
true.
future years things that aren't on the calendar get picked up.
No, I think. No, I think. Yeah. No, I don't think. I'm certain it's coming out this year. They just
Yeah,
hadn't like had a date. Is it
for
possible
sure.
that it shifts? Maybe, but it sounded
Yeah.
like it was coming out. It sounded like they were already
Yeah.
started it, but I could be wrong.
It's no Blade that's finally officially dead. By the way, if it I don't know that we're going to talk about this on another Bugle, but Blade is dead. Dead.
Yeah, it's a
So,
bummer. That's a bummer.
um
But whatever. We will have an episode. We should do an episode where we're just like, what the hell happened to Blade? And we just
just a full breakdown on it. Yeah. So then David, that leaves you with Spider-Man Brand New Day for your Marvel movie.
hmm I this is a hot take, but I think it could do better than Doomsday.
Hmm.
The Spider-Man movies
Interesting.
all do really,
They
really
do.
well. And if I'm sure Doomsday will be very good. And it comes out but it comes out like around Christmas time, it
Yeah,
has
which does stifle things a little bit.
stifles things a little bit. It's going to have a good run into January because, like most of the time, January box office is not a lot great stuff coming out. But that's the only like December 18 is just it's a little
Yeah.
late in the year. If there were July, a first choice, right? Or May.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking is, and we'll see what the trailers do, but I get the feeling that Doomsday will suffer less from the I'll wait for it on streaming crowd than Spider-Man will.
Mm-hmm.
But
If you're
um
the other thing I was going to say, if you just base it upon like social engagement, people have watched those little clips a
oh
bajillion
yeah.
times, right? And so
Oh yeah.
I think the fans. I don't think the box office from 2025 means that like superhero movies are like out of touch or it's like passe, if you
Right.
will. But I think just having kind of just okay titles, or I mean, Fantastic Four was a good title, Superman's a good title, but they just didn't quite capture it. But I think these two films will. So, what is your wild card?
Oh, this is tough, man. There like we mentioned, there's a good year ahead of us. So just to name a few that are coming out, you have um that I'm gonna just name the ones that would qualify here. So you got Hoppers, which is like Avatar for kids coming out from Pixar. You've got Project Hail Mary, Lord and Miller are directing that one. Um, Ryan Gosling in it. You've got the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which that always does the Super Mario always does gangbusters.
I thought of drafting that one.
Yeah. Um, what else do you have coming out that I think is going to do big? I mean, Devil Wears Prada 2 will probably do fine. And weirdly, Meryl Streep is the connection because wasn't she? No, not Meryl Streep. I was thinking, but Stanley Tucci's been in the Marvel universe, so that would connect. I am going a couple others that are coming out next year that I think could do gangbusters. You mentioned obviously Toy Story 5. Supergirl, I think could do really well. The trailer for it looks fun. You've got Minions, right? Minions, Moana, live action, which, oh gosh, don't get me started
They're
on
going to
that.
make a ton of money, man. They're going to make a ton of money.
And then I think the ones that stand the biggest chance to make money for me, in my estimation, are going to be the Odyssey, the Chris Nolan Odyssey, And then actually what I'm going to pick
I know what you're gonna
is
pick. You're gonna pick the Michael Jackson documentary. Go for it, man. Good choice.
No. Well, and I will say I did think about Dune. Dune is also one. I'm not picking Dune, but Dune always makes movies.
Do you know
Or
when it
makes
comes
money.
out?
December.
Same day as Doomsday.
Oh, okay. It's not
Now,
making money.
now you no, but you could but query whether it could be like a meme, kind of like
Yeah,
Barbenheimer.
Doomsday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Doomsday, where you go out and see both.
Doomsday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen.
But I'm gonna pick the other standby in the Marvel or in the Disney extended universe
Take
stable,
it.
which is Star Wars, Mandalorian, and Grogu.
Yep.
I think that's gonna be, Star Wars fans are frothing, right? Those guys over at Bantha Milk, they've been hungry for a movie for years. They haven't had a theatrical release in a while. Mando does great. It's always the top streamed, show every single year. Putting Grogu in there puts it on a little bit of that kid money, right? It's gonna make a little bit of that like older kids, your 7-8-year-old kids can go to it, so parents can take their kids. Yeah, I think it could be the number one grossing of the year. I think it will beat Marvel. I would place a wager on it, on Mando and Grogu beating both Marvel movies next year.
I will take that side wager. I last Star Wars movie, 2019. I'm looking at Box Office Mojo, and I don't want to hold this out as gospel. What do you think is the highest lifetime grossing Star Wars movie, and how much did you think it made? This can't be right. This can't be right.
Last Jedi?
Hold on. Let me look at another thing, because this does not look correct to me, because it said Force Awakens.
Oh no, that's accurate, because it was like it was everybody coming back to coming back to Star Wars, right? It was nothing had been released. We're really excited. Everybody came back. I remember that story now. Yeah.
Force Awakens. Okay, I'm looking at I'm on the numbers. Force Awakens, 2 billion. Episode 7. I'm sorry, that was episode 7. Episode 8 made 1.3. Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. Okay, yeah, I'm just looking at the results. So the New Hope only made $775 million. It's gonna be re-released.
Yeah.
I am 300% going to go watch the movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The only thing I'm a little sad about is the movie theater here in Denver. So when they re-released episodes 4, 5, and 6 in theaters in the 90s, my dad took us to the Continental in Denver, which was the movie theater where he saw some of those as a kid.
Okay.
And it's torn down. It got torn down last year, which
it's a bummer.
Makes me a little sad. But
it's a bummer.
But yeah, next year when it's the 50th anniversary of New Hope and all that starts spinning up, I'm so excited for that. But yeah, I think Mando and Grogu is going to do gangbusters, man.
The last 3 Star Wars movies, I'm sorry, the last 4 Star Wars movies, including Rogue One, all made over $1 billion. But the numbers have been on the decline after episode 7. So that made $2 billion. Episode 8 made 1.3. Episode 9 made just over $1 billion. The reason why I don't think it's going to do as well, I mean, would I be shocked at all? No, it's May. It's Star Wars. It is prime time. There, a lot of people. It is a familiar property, so there's very low risk that if you're going to go see, Mandalorian Grogu,
it's not the Bothans stealing the Death Star 2 plans, and it's some like pocket story within MC or within the Star Wars universe, right? It's everybody knows what
Yeah,
Moon Grove
yeah.
is.
It's not like the Acolyte, the movie, and you go and you're just like,
Right.
oh dear lord, what this made $83 million. Good God. The only thing I would hope is like, I hope that it doesn't feel like a TV show as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes you get that. Like a really good recent example of that is like Moana 2, where you can tell that was a Disney Plus series that they just cut the breaks out of and
Mm-hmm.
threw it together as a feature length film. By the way, the link to Marvel, for those who don't realize it, Pedro Pascal plays Mandalorian, and is also Mr. Fantastic. So
Reed Richards, yeah, that's a good choice. I think it will do very well. I think that has that nothing would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it came out at 650. It wouldn't surprise me if it doubled that or more. I think $1 billion is well within reach, though. So this would be good. This would be a good year, I think.
good
I think,
year.
yeah, I think you can't go wrong with any of those kids movies. I'm telling you, Minions 3 is going to make a ton. Moana.
I thought about Mario. Because Chris Pratt is the voice of Mario, and he's obviously Star-Lord. And that movie always makes money. Yeah.
That would be my second choice if we were expanding it to be, if you had a like rando kids thing, like that would be the first draft choice. That's going to do a ton of money, but
yeah, maybe to round it out to 5. Maybe to round it out to 5, we can add a kids movie category next year.
Okay, works for me.
But yeah, good draft. And then for the show, a programming note for the show that I want to kind of give everybody. We've been hinting towards this for a while. I think we announced it on our second feed or something, and we've been hinting towards this. We're catching up. We're catching up way too fast to the MCU. The movies we're watching are too recent for there to be good content about them. We have realized that like movies and shows, right? There needs to be a certain amount of distance for the revisit to be worth it, for there to be time for the MCU to reuse some of the things, right? Some of the little hints that are dropped, right? We don't even know what's going to be used from some of these things because they haven't had the chance to do that yet. We are within 3 years right now of the release date of the stuff that we're watching, and so we want to try and stretch that out a little bit, as well as give ourselves more time to give you guys better content, right? Like our goal here is to make sure that this is a really enjoyable show, has some really interesting insights. You're not just going and watching you're not just listening to a rehash of Eric Voss from New Rock Stars or something like that. You're actually getting some good content from us, and so
are you saying Eric Voss doesn't have good content?
No, he has great content. But what I mean is, I don't want our listeners feeling like we're just regurgitating that sort of stuff. So to give ourselves a little bit more time for more research, as well as to give the movies some more time to breathe and some more interesting things to come out of them, we are going to slow down the pace at which we're doing our MCU rewatch.
Yeah. Now, if this is your attempt to turn this into a Fast and Furious rewatch podcast, bring that content, I'm out. But to your point, Marvel is cranking out each year on average about 8 properties. A couple movies, a bunch of shows, right? And so at some point in time, we're going to end up with like a George R.R. Martin situation, and we've caught up with the books, and so we have to right. So it does make sense to kind of slow it just a little bit. It'll allow us to do different types of content programming. We obviously are going to do our phase reviews. We'll do a preview probably to Doomsday, maybe to Spider-Man. So just different types of content. So you'll still get stuck to listening to us, but it might just be may not just be like a movie a month.
Yep. Yeah. So we're going to back off to about 6 movies this year. So, typically we were doing 12 properties, I should say, because we're now squarely in the Disney Plus era. So our 6 properties that we will be covering this year, we still owe you Hawkeye, so that's going to be number 1, right? We owe you Hawkeye, so we'll get that done. We'll get that out to you guys soon. Spider-Man No Way Home, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Ms. Marvel, and Thor Love and Thunder. David, what are you most looking forward to and least looking forward to out of the list for
Oh
this
man,
year?
I was going to ask you that question. I would say the most actually I'm looking forward to. This is going to shock you. I'm going to say Doctor Strange, and
Huh,
only because I don't remember it super fondly, and I want
that's
to
fair.
rewatch it again. How
That's
about you?
fair.
What's your number one most looking forward to rewatching?
Moon Knight.
Okay.
Um, I loved Moon Knight on its first release, and I have a hard time going back and rewatching shows. It's a lot of time and whatever. And there's a lot of current content to watch in that space, so like sometimes I have a hard time getting back to them. So I haven't gone back to it since its release, but I really liked it, and so I'm really excited to go back, see Oscar Isaacs do his thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like Oscar Isaac. That's good.
yeah.
That's a good call. What are you least looking forward to?
I I don't know if it's least looking forward to, but I'm gonna say I am most nervous about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Really?
I have seen a lot of critical kind of things coming out in the last few years about it doesn't hold up. It was a nostalgia bomb. The kind of like pause for laughter, sort of some of the same stuff we said with Deadpool and Wolverine,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like some of that stuff that felt really good in the theaters doesn't feel as good at home. I've rewatched it a few times, but not terribly recently. And so I'm nervous because I just don't I have this great memory of that movie in my head. Um Seeing it in theaters was really great. And so I am nervous that like going back after the experience that has been this podcast for the last 3 years. Um I am I'm nervous to like go back and look at it again. What
Okay.
about you?
That's probably the proper choice. If I will be for that very reason which you captured it, which is was this just a nostalgia bomb? Just right. I'm going to say Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, Thor: Love and Thunder didn't like it in theater. I have. I don't know if I've rewatched. Maybe I've rewatched it once. I'm nervous that I remembered it, that I accurately captured it, and then it's just a crappy movie, and I'm put, had to put lipstick on this pig and make it sound like no. I'm just kidding. That's probably it's probably the one I think I maybe least looking forward to rewatching. So,
That's fair.
but I know you
That's
like
fair.
it.
Yeah, I like it, and this is definitely like a. I will say when we wrote out the list for this year, the list of 6, I'm like, man, this is where everybody was saying the MCU was dead. Like this is the run of content where people were holding funerals for the MCU. So
Yeah,
should
we
be a fun year though. I think going back sometimes and revisiting some of that stuff that is rough with our new eyes is interesting.
um yeah. I think I really do like Taika Waititi, so I think I'm obviously we'll go into it with an open mind. But yeah, we might trying to think what's right after Thor: Love and Thunder.
I think She-Hulk is
It's
the
She
next.
Hulk. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say
chunk.
maybe we're able to like have like some sort of you know palate cleanser, but I don't think that She Hulk is going to be the palate cleanser we're looking forward to. Anyway, should be good.
Yeah. Well, let's close it out here, David. This has been a great year in review, year in preview. So I am looking forward to another year of Puny Pod. Um, Go check out our socials, Puny Pod across. If you search for Puny Pod wherever you get your social media, you will find us. Um, we most actively post on Facebook and Instagram, mostly because I have an automation that runs that posts all the shows. So you will know on those two platforms as soon as a new episode comes out, as well as Blue Sky. We're still posted on Blue Sky. I still have that automation up and running. So If you're on Blue Sky, you can also check us out there. My socials, if you want to check me out, it is Tomorrowland Travel Authority. If you search for that anywhere, you can find me. I generally am posting most often on Instagram and occasionally on TikTok. So check out Tomorrowland Travel Authority. That's my travel planning account for Concy Ears, and reach out if you need some travel planned. It's not just Disney stuff either. We can plan pretty much anything for you. So reach out if you're looking to do some traveling in 2026. David, any socials you want to plug?
Nope, I'm all good, man.
Sweet. Check out the other shows on the network. We have Bantha Milk is active again. I think last time we were recording they were still on the fence, but they're back up and running. Every couple weeks they have shows coming out. The Supreme Resort is back. Very, very glad to see them back on the airwaves. Love that show. So go check out Supreme Resort. Check out the Hub Crawl, not on the network, but very good friends of the show, and frequently David or I will appear on that show. Check out the Buena Vista Boys. They just wrapped up their season. They do seasonal kind of reviews of Buena Vista release projects. And check out Ears Up podcast, the main show or the flagship show for the network. Check out all those shows. Also coming very soon to the Ears Up network, you guys are hearing probably the most cogent announcement of this is Fantasyland Draft League. So David is joining me on this venture, along with Eric from the flagship show, and Brian, who is a big part of the Ears Up network and another constant ear with me, and then Olivia, who is part of the sister show to the Hub Crawl called Spokes. She's also another constant ear. We're gonna have this big, they're all co-hosts, and it's a fantasy draft style show. So Serpentine Draft. We're bringing on a couple guests, and we talk about something related to Disney. Could be parks, could be movies, could be Marvel, could be Star Wars. So really excited to launch that. That should be launching shortly after you hear this on your podcatcher. I'm almost done editing the first couple episodes so that I can get them put up. So really excited to launch Fantasyland Draft League. Please go check it out. Please tell your friends, even if they haven't been listening to this show because maybe they're not Marvel people. This lets us flex our Disney nerd a little bit, which is something I know both David and I have been itching to do. So really excited to launch that new show in the new year. Definitely go listen to it. So other than that, check out the Patreon for the Ears Up Network. We release our super secret spoiler show over there. And last but not least, the next main show that you will hear will be Hawkeye. So go listen to that. Thank you all for listening. Enough said.